When I say this is the last time I'm recording this motherfucking episode, bro. Like, this is the last time. If this doesn't work, I'm throwing the episode away. Y'all, first of all, hi. Hello, guys. Welcome back to my podcast. I'm Deja, yada, yada, yada. We already know I'm not good at intros. Let's get into it. I recorded this podcast, which in today's podcast, we're going to talk about religion and like why I feel having a connection with a higher power, in my case, God, is important. And I'm just going to kind of go over like things that I have like 4 or 5 points that I want to make. And I just want to expose how healthy it is to have a connection with a higher power or even yourself, like your intuition. But first, I'm going to go on a little tangent. I recorded this podcast at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? And I was like, okay, I recorded it 3 times at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I stopped around like 4:30. And then I go to edit it, I'm sitting there listening. I'm like, ooh, okay, taking out all the pauses, yada, 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 trying to make it easy for y'all to listen to. And then I go and I swipe down because I think my mom had texted me and everything deletes. Everything gone. I hope you felt the pain in that sigh because I'm so close to giving up, but I feel like what I'm going to say in this podcast is it's just weighing heavy on my heart, and I feel like I just need to talk about it. I feel like this podcast is a safe space for me to just express how I feel, express what's important to me, and, the intention behind this episode specifically is just to encourage you to build a relationship with, a higher power, your God, whatever you believe in. We're going to get into that, but I just had to go on a little tangent because I'm so dedicated to this podcast, y'all. And I know it's not easy for me to just talk into a microphone and get it right the first time. Like, I know practice makes perfect, but practice makes progress. Sorry. It's just really discouraging when you're trying to record a podcast that you're just so passionate about and there's just always something that's wrong with it and you have to go and redo it. But the good thing about it all is every time I record, I add something new and I go in depth about something that makes the podcast run smoothly and makes it easier to understand what I'm saying. So that's a positive, but I had to go on my little tangent. I'm sorry, y'all. Let's get into actual episode. So today, like I mentioned, we're talking about God, we're talking about religion, we're talking about spirituality, because I feel like this, having a relationship with God in my case, is the main reason why I am the person that I am today. And I feel like it would be wrong for me to start this podcast without giving thanks and praise to God. And the points that I'm going to make in this podcast, I just want to let you know that you don't have to believe what I believe. Like, I know there's different religions. I know people have multiple gods. I know that people refer to God as maybe the universe or a higher power, whatever it is. I don't care. Let's not focus on who it is we're talking. Like, let's not focus on the title. Let's just focus on the relationship. I feel like that's a big factor because people just love to point out the title. Like, people just love to point out the title and like it just causes a lot of separation, like here we're all about unity. So let's all be on the same page. Okay. We talking about a higher power. That could be your intuition. That could be God. That could be whatever. I'm going to refer to it as either my intuition or God. That's just me. That's just, that's what I refer to it as. And you do whatever. Different shows with different folks. Okay. So first I'm going to explain why I feel like a relationship with God is important. I know I did briefly in the beginning, but I really want to get into it because, again, what's the root? Like, hello. So the main thing for me is when I'm building a relationship with God, my intuition, a higher power, there's so much peace in that. And I feel like a lot of that comes from just the power it gives you. And it's going to sound a little bit crazy if you've never kind of experienced this before, but when you build a relationship with God, or, just yourself, you just feel so fulfilled and so powerful, and you feel so disciplined, and you feel so just grateful, and life is a little bit easier to manage. You just have these tactics and these ways to go about things, and you carry yourself differently. You really do shine differently when you praise God and when you have a relationship with a higher power. Like, it really shows. I promise. So, that's kind of like my main reason as to why I feel like it's so important. It's just this feeling you get, man, and this trust that you have with yourself and your decisions, your judgment. Like, a lot of it is based on this relationship you have, and it just helps you evolve so much as a person. So, like I said, we're going to talk about, I got like 4 or 5 points that I want to make, and hopefully this encourages you to go out and try these things and try to build that relationship. Because listen, I just want you to hear me out and try at least one of the things that I'm saying in this episode. Like, just try it. Just try it and let me know how you like it, because I promise your life will change after any of these points. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start this episode by saying, if I could force everybody in the world to do one thing, it would be to build a relationship with God. It, like, hands down, it would be to tap in with your inner self. It would be to do these things. Like, I swear, that's like my one wish. If I had a genie, that would be my first wish, is for everyone to just sit down and take the time to connect with their inner self, or God, or, a higher power. Because I can't, bro, your life, it just, like, it changes so much, and you just get a better grip on the things that you need to fix within yourself. You get a clear perspective on things. You're more open-minded to those around you. You're able to be more aware of those things around you. Like, my one wish, like I said, is just for people to tap in, bro, tap in. So the main things that kind of help me tap in with my inner self, or, God, like, the main thing that strengthens that bond, the first thing is prayer. And when I say prayer, I mean at any moment, anytime, as soon as I open my eyes, if I'm in class about to take a test, if I'm watching a basketball game and I want them to win, like, any time I feel that I need to pray, I'm going to pray. And this is just my personal experience, but every time I pray, I feel God's presence, and that could just be me, tapping into my higher self. And if you haven't felt this feeling, it's kind of hard to understand what I'm saying, but the more you pray and the more you meditate, the more you're going to feel it. So yeah, that's probably like the main way I connect with my higher self, or God. So like I said, prayer, meditation, those are the 2 biggest things for me. A lot of people say that reading the Bible helps them, but it doesn't really fulfill me as much as prayer does. And that's just me. That's just, what I'm saying? That's my preference. I'm not saying it won't help you, but I'm just speaking from my experience. Yeah. Now that I told you why I feel it's important, now I told you, kind of what my beliefs are, and the ways that I connect with this higher power. Now I just want to kind of go into the things that I feel is important to do while you're building this relationship. So the first thing is faith. Now listen, having faith in God, having faith in your higher self, having faith in a higher power is way easier said than done. Because I feel like society conditions us all to just think that we're meant, or we're obligated to sit here and stress over things and deal with, the anxiety that we feel when we are like going through hard times. Or, I feel like society kind of normalizes it, when we really don't. Like, you don't have to deal with that. You quite literally don't have to do that. And I'm gonna just explain how. So an example of having faith in the middle of a hard situation would be something that I kind of grew up doing, something that I kind of like dealt with a lot growing up, was worrying about bills and like living paycheck to paycheck and stressing over not having enough money for things and yada yada yada. And coming to college is really when my faith was tested. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've always had a relationship with God and I've always like practiced my faith, but coming to college and like setting those boundaries and telling myself, no, you are gonna do this, instead of being like, I can try to have faith. No. But anyways, back to my example. Every time I was stressed out, every time I felt anxiety about, not having enough money, or it doesn't even have to be money, but just when I'm dealing with a situation, the first thing I would do was just drop to my knees and pray. You know what I'm saying? I would pray that, like, I would tell God, I would be like, look, God, I'm working as hard as I can. I'm doing all that I can. I'm going to hand over this anxiety. I'm going to hand over this nervousness. I'm going to hand over this depression. I'm going to hand over this stress. I'm going to hand over all these negative emotions that are blocking I'm going to hand over all these things that are just blocking me from dealing with the situation or bettering the situation. And I'm going to focus on actively being better. And I feel like it sounds easy, but it's really not. And after I would sit there and I would pray, I would just get back up, go do what I just told him I'm going to do. Go to work, save up my money, take care of the things I need to take care of. And I feel like when you practice having faith, you literally have to continuously tell your mind to stop thinking negative things. Like, you have to, when you feel anxiety or when you feel depression or when you feel all these negative emotions coming from a situation that you're dealing with, you quite literally have to talk to yourself. Well, I'm not going to say you have to. I'm actually talking for myself. Me personally, I talk to myself. I mean, hello, I'm talking to myself in a microphone right now, but I literally, like, if the moment I get a thought in my mind, I'm like, Deja, stop. Stop. You're doing all you can. There's nothing else you can do right now. You're doing all that you can. You're trying your best. I encourage myself. You know what I'm saying? God's going to help you take care of it. Keep pushing. I literally have to coach myself and train myself that whenever these feelings, just let it go. Let it go. Hand it over to God. And over time, you do build faith, and over time, you do build that trust between God and yourself. Like, you'll feel it over time. You just like, oh wow, like, comparing my relationship with God from like freshman year to now is crazy. Like, now I don't think twice about anything. Like, if I'm dealing with something, maybe I don't know how to handle something, or maybe I'm feeling anxious about something, I hand it over to God. It definitely takes time, and I just encourage you to practice it every single day, just knowing that God will help you and guide you as long as you stay dedicated and persistent with your prayers and with your just actively trying to achieve the goals and get out of the situation that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hope that makes sense. I really do. And I also want to point out, like, when you have faith, that doesn't give you room to like step back and just let God handle. No. I feel like having faith is just like taking those negative emotions off your back while you're working on achieving a goal, or while you're working on, bettering your situation. It's like, all right, I'm climbing up this mountain to get to maybe financial stability. I'm climbing up this mountain to get to confidence, self-love. And on the way up to this mountain, I got bags on me, right? I got determination as a bag. I got motivation, I got drive, I got discipline, but then I got this little knapsack on my back called anxiety. I'm just throw that off my back down the hill. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got a bag of depression. Let me throw that. I hope that analogy helps. Like, having faith does not mean you stop walking up that hill. Having faith means you you let go of everything negative that comes to your mind that will distract you from climbing up that hill. That's all it means. And knowing that God will get you to the top of the hill as long as you stay driven and persistent. Just knowing you're good. You're doing all you can. You're doing your best. You know what I'm saying? Boom. It's that easy. But it is scary, especially when it comes to decision making. And that's when you just have to kind of work on, prayer, meditation, connect with your intuition, and know what's right for you. And a lot of that just comes with building a relationship. I can't really tell you how to, strengthen your intuition besides just connecting with it on a daily basis. But I hope the faith analogy kind of helped you. So another thing, like I know we talked about prayer a lot, so I'm gonna just hit on intention. One thing that I peeped, I definitely just saw this growing up, is people would pray, but it would be like a one-time thing, and like if it didn't come true, or if they didn't get answers, they would just give up, and they would kind of like, God ain't hearing me. You know what I'm saying? Like they would just kind of doubt God's abilities, or even their higher self. Like they would just doubt it. And it's like, bro, you just, like, you prayed one time. What do you think is going to come out of that? Like, and I just want to add on to that when you pray, you're like 99.9% guaranteed a test. Like if I'm praying for self-discipline to just stick to my routine, gym at 7 a.m, class, work, if I'm praying for that self-discipline to continue doing that, I'm going to get tested. There are going to be days where I am just so exhausted, I don't want to roll out my bed. There are going to be days where I'm, but you can't question God's abilities if you're not being persistent and you're not connecting with him on a daily basis, like, or yourself, like your inner self. Like you can't sit here and just put one prayer out there and be like, oh, well, we're just going to wait on the answer. No, it doesn't work like that. Like, just to give you another analogy, let's say you have a friend you just met a month ago, right? You see they got money. I'm talking about money. And they give it out. They donate money to all types of organizations, yada, yada, yada. And you might be going through a financial hardship. But you just met them a month ago. You feel comfortable asking them for 10 bands? You feel comfortable asking them to buy you a house? No. Just because you know they're capable doesn't mean that you expect them to do it immediately. Now, boom, you and that friend, y'all been friends for 10 years. Now, okay, they know your situation a little bit better. Y'all have connected over hardships. You see what I'm saying? That's the same thing with God. You can't just take advantage of the fact that you know he's going to prevail. You can't do that and just use it for your benefit without. I feel like building a relationship with God, there's so much learning and growth and like awareness that comes from that. You can't just say one prayer and gain all that. Like it just don't work like that. So I hope that analogy kind of helped you as well, because that's something I had to realize was you have to put pure, like good intentions in your prayer and stay persistent with them and stay connected and continue to, you know what I'm saying? Just don't get lazy. Don't get lazy. Don't fall back. Don't sit down. And for sure, don't question God's abilities. Oh my gosh. Don't ever do that. For real. Don't do that one. Don't do that one. So the next thing I want to hit is the whole victim complex. And I feel like a lot of that comes from doubting God's abilities. I know everybody has, if not said it, at least heard someone say like, God isn't even hearing me. Like, is he even real? Like, and I'm going to say this one time and one time only. I hate saying this phrase, like, with a passion. So, if you listening to me right now, turn your volume up because it's getting said one time. Okay? My biggest pet peeve is when people say, I'm literally choking right now. Like, I don't want to say it. When people say, could it get any worse? Oh my gosh, don't piss me off. Do not piss me off. Like, that's just such an ungrateful statement. Like, could it get any worse? I said it twice. Oh, jeez. Oh, But no, like, on a serious note, when you do that and you kind of like, oh my gosh, life is so hard. Like, why is this happening to me? Like, you do realize things can get worse. And you do realize when you say that, God listening. Like, he hear you. He like, can it what? You got a house? You got food on the table? Oh, okay. You got a phone? That FaceTime? Oh, okay. I'm in college right now. And like, people from my hometown, shout out 757. Yes, sir. Yee! But People from my hometown, like, don't have the opportunity to better themselves in the way that my university has bettered me. And just even thinking about saying that phrase, it scares me because, like, it could. And that's why I feel like practicing, that just leads me into my next point. I just feel like practicing gratitude is just as important as praying. I am so grateful to even have this opportunity to wake up and go to class every day. I am so grateful to learn to know how to cook. I'm so grateful to have the support system I have, to meet the people that I meet. Like, wait, hold on. Hear me out. So boom, I think I was on Pinterest. Or Instagram. I can't remember. And I came across this quote, and it really, like, opened my eyes up to a lot. It's been written down. Hold on. It said, what if you woke up tomorrow morning and the only things left were the things you thanked God for yesterday? What if you woke up tomorrow morning and the only things left were the things you thanked God for yesterday? Man, that ain't made, like, wow. Like, just let that sink in. I can't express it enough. Gratitude is so important. Like, and like I said, it don't matter which religion you're practicing, what your spiritual journey looks like, as long as you're whatever the higher power it is that you're building this relationship with, thank them. Thank them, because like I said, bro, life is short. Things happen. Like, anything can be taken from you, and just continue to love the people around you and practice gratitude daily, and just, like, don't take anything for granted, and don't have that victim complex, because things can always be worse. Always be worse. And, like, I don't know why I want to say this, but I do. I've been keeping up with my university's basketball team, and I've just been observing them and, like, their chemistry. And we're a D1 school, you know, they're really, really good players, and we've kind of lost a couple games back to back. And I feel like the last game we lost, man, the look on their faces was just, like, so discouraged and just so, like, just tapped out and just so defeated. And I'm like, I just don't want them to just take that for granted. Like, granted, it's a loss. Okay, cool. When you're looking at numbers, it's bad, yada, yada, yada. But, bro, they're about to fly to Cancun and play in like, what? Like, fuck the losses. Y'all are about to get flown out. Like, and it's just so crazy, because I hope that those players just practice gratitude and they realize their potential and the hard work that they put in. And you know what I'm saying? I just hope that they realize how great they really are, and that, okay, they lost, but it's on to the next. Like, I don't know, man. I felt like I needed to say that, because I've been following them for, like, the past year, and I don't know. I don't know why I just said that. I really don't, but I just feel like it needed to be said, especially if they listening. If any of y'all listening was good, welcome to the pod. I hope what I said makes sense, and I hope that it made you realize something. If you don't realize it already. But yeah, we're going to move on. We're going to leave them alone. So the last thing I want to talk about is convictions, because This is the part of the podcast where I get kind of, like, choked up on my words, and I get really frustrated because I'm afraid to speak on this, because I'm scared that people will automatically just, I don't know, like, I just feel like talking about this is very, very touchy. Hey, listen, we just finna get into it. So first I'm gonna explain what a conviction is, in my opinion. I feel like a conviction is anything that you do that brings guilt or pulls you away from God, anything that God, tells you to stop doing, anything that you're doing in your daily life that is detrimental to an important aspect. Like, For example, my biggest conviction is social media and like lowering my screen time and just like detaching myself from my phone, because it was affecting my mental health and it was I was distancing myself from God. So like I hope that makes sense, and I hope you're following me. It's just anything that pulls you away from God, anything that brings guilt, and 9 times out of 10, it's something that you're addicted to. It's something that you feel like you can't live without in the moment, and it's something that you feel is very important, which most of the times it's not. Like I said, for me, it was the screen time / social media, which, whew, that's in another episode. We gonna hit that. We gonna talk about that for real. I also want to say that convictions are not the same for everybody. Let me say that again. Convictions are not the same for everybody. I'm not saying that it's impossible for you and other people to have the same convictions, because like, I don't know if I said this earlier, but I kind of grew up in a Christian, like a semi-Christian household. So like, obviously most of the people in my church were convicted of the same thing, don't listen to secular music. But a lot of that falls onto the Bible. What I'm talking about, like what I'm referring to, is personal. So that's where it kind of gets, it kind of gets a little iffy. I don't even want to touch into Christianity because I'm not. I don't identify as Christian. I just identify as a follower of Jesus Christ, a follower of God. And yeah, we just gonna leave it at that. But based on, just my personal beliefs, I just believe that everybody has different convictions, and that it's okay for people to live their life differently. Like, it's okay, because God may tell you need to stop cussing because you cuss in professional settings. You set yourself back from opportunities because you're using this language in the wrong, the wrong settings, the wrong areas. But me, I know how to turn it on. Oh. Like, I know you peeped. I said cuss words in this episode. And it's because I'm not convicted of that. I'm not out here, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to go on and on about that because it's not even that deep. But I just want to make that a point, that everybody's convictions, what God tells you to change about yourself, isn't the same thing that God is going to tell me to change about myself. It could be similar, but like, even if it is, that don't mean I get to judge you, because you might not be staying loyal to that. You might have trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where I kind of get scared with talking about this, because all my life I've dealt with judgy people that felt like because we had the same or like a similar conviction, and I may have not been, and I may not be executing it the way that they are, or I might not be handling it well like them. They feel like they have room to judge me and to put me down and to suggest things that I do. And you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you live for you. I live for me. Like, and that's that. Like, I don't know. That just really pisses me off, because people are just so judgmental when it comes to that. And when it comes to people, and when it comes to how people like live their lives, it's just like, are you paying my bills? Are you encouraging me to get up every single morning? You putting the work in to better me? You doing that for me? No. So leave me alone. Like, you're not in my body. You're not me. You're not me. Like, and that's something I stand on, because I'm going to live my life the way that I live it. I'm going to work on myself, and that's all that should matter. Like, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. I don't even want to do all that, but yeah, man, I just wanted to give y'all some insight on my religious / spirituality journey, and how I look at things. I feel like, again, I can't really get into other episodes and like the topics that I really want to talk about without giving praise to God and encouraging those to just build a relationship with a higher power, because of how much it changed my life for the better. And I feel like this is just the foundation of my life. So I feel like this should be the first official episode. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to build episodes, or we're going to build this podcast on top of this episode, because this is where it started. You feel me? I hope that makes sense, bro. I really do. I hope that you guys kind of understood what I was trying to say in this episode, and you guys could, see things from my perspective a little bit. I'm not saying that you have to do these things, or if you do these things, you're a bad person. I'm just saying that you should try it out. And because it's changed my life so significantly, and every person that I tell, like every person that I share this information with and they practice it, their lives have changed significantly. So why not make it an episode to change? Like, you know what I'm saying? It only makes sense. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Go ahead and subscribe if you aren't already. I'm on Apple and Spotify. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next episode.